This video is part of my course Supabase for iOS developers, the complete boot camp, and this course is currently available to pre-order. You can pre-order for $89. Once the course will be published, the price will be raised to $149, or you can simply become a member and you can get access to the course for only $25 a month. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what we'll be covering in this course. You can see there are certain sections that are already available to you, like getting started with Supabase database. Then we learn about the MV pattern, relationships, and there are some other sections that will be coming, like authentication, storage, edge functions, and real-time API. So these sections will be uploaded as they are completed. So this is the best course, the most complete course on Supabase for all iOS developers. So check out the course link right there in the YouTube description. Thank you so much. And now let's go ahead and go back to the video. In the last lecture, you learned how you can set up the Supabase client on your SwiftUI application and also display information, which is the budgets, on the screen. We still need to find a way to allow user to add budgets. So in this lecture, you'll be learning about that how you can add budgets to the screen. Currently, we're looking at our budget list screen. One of the things that I did is I placed the budget list screen inside the screens folder and screens group that I created. So that's the only change that I've made. You can just drag and drop and make it happen also. Okay. So what do we need over here? Well, when we're trying to add, we need a way to provide some sort of a toolbar that can allow us to add new items. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a new toolbar to our budget list screen. You can see that it is dependent on the is presented, so we can always go and add is presented over here. Private var is presented. There we go. And hopefully we'll be able to see the navigation bar on the top. And there we go. It says add new. Great. The next thing that we want to do is we want to display a sheet. So I'm just going to say sheet is presented. And then we can display some sort of a content. Currently, at this point, we don't really have the add budget screen. So I can go and I can add a new screen, a SwiftUI view, and I can call it add budget screen. This particular screen will be responsible for adding a new budget. Let's go back to the budget list screen. And in the sheet, we can display add budget screen. And I'm also going to wrap it with the navigation stack because I would like to see the toolbar on the top in the add budget screen. So I can add some more buttons to it. I can go ahead and click. Okay, this is the add budget screen. It doesn't really have any code, so that's why it just displays the hello world. But now we can jump into our add budget screen. So when we are creating a budget, what do we need to, to capture? Well, we need to capture the name of the budget and the limit of the budget. And you can see that in our budget model, we are capturing the name and the limit. We're not really going to capture the ID. I mean, the user is not going to enter an ID for the budget because the ID is assigned from Supabase. Let's go back. And over here, now I can say form. I can create a form and I can go ahead and create a private var name. There we go. And private var, what's the other thing? Limit. This will be a double. Now I can use a simple text field to create these things. So I can say enter the name. This is the budget name, which will go into a name binding. And we can use the text again. And this time I think I can use the formatter one. So I can say enter limit. The value will be for the limit and we'll enter the number. Okay, it's looking good. I'm also going to make sure that I have some sort of a toolbar on the top. So toolbar, let's go ahead and add a toolbar. We can say, oops, toolbar content placement can be, this time we're going to start the placement with the leading, and we'll display the close button. So on the top left, you can see the close button, and I can just wrap this again, and I can say save maybe, but not from the leading. This will be for the trailing. So it will be on the right-hand side. Great. Let's tackle the close button first. I mean, because this is quite simple, right? I mean, how would you close it? And you can use, in this case, you can use a simple environment value called dismiss. There we go. And just call dismiss. Perfect. When we close it, well, it's going to dismiss. But what to do for the save function? Well, over here, we need to call save. We'll first import Supabase. And since this is the add budget screen, we can use this particular screen is not meant for reusability purposes. So we can just refer to our Supabase client and then use the Supabase client from the environment value that we created earlier on to directly just save our things. I'm going to create a function. I'll call it simple function. I'll call it save budget. Okay. And this will be an async function because we will be using Supabase client insert function, and that requires, that's a async function, so that requires this to be async. Now we have to call, from the button, we have to call save budget. If I simply just go ahead and type in save budget, then it's going to give me an error. It's saying that you can't really call save budget over here because save budget is marked with async. So you need to await on it, and you can't really await on it because the button, it's not an async context. There are many different ways of solving the problem. The easiest solution is just wrap this up in a task, which is the unstructured concurrency. This is going to give us the async context. Now keep in mind, whenever you use the task concurrency over here, or the unstructured concurrency, if you press on the save button and you just go away, meaning your view just goes away, then this particular save task is not cancelled. In this particular scenario, since we're saving, we don't really want it to cancel anyways. This might be true if we are, processing a large amount of data, we're reading it. But right now, if I save something and something happens, if the view just goes away, then I still want it to be saved. The other method is by using the task modifier. It's a little bit of a longer method where task modifier, the things that you will write in the task modifier will get cancelled if the view goes away. So we're just going with the unstructured approach over here by saying, when you press the save button, just call the save budget inside the unstructured concurrency using task. Now inside over here in the save budget, this is where we will have to first construct our budget model. So I'm just going to use budget. I have to provide the name, which we already have, and I have to provide the limit. So let's go ahead and add the limit also. The limit over here is optional, so we will have to unwrap it. So I can go ahead and unwrap this. Else, return. Great. Once we have the limit, next we can use Supabase client. So Supabase client dot from. So which table are we talking about? Well, right now we only have one table, budgets. So we'll use budgets. Great. And then we will say insert. Well, what value are we inserting? Well, we're inserting the budget. But after inserting the value, we also want to select the newly inserted budget, and we only want to select a single one. And let's go ahead and execute that, and it's going to return us a value. The type of the value will be generic, meaning that we will have to specify on the left-hand side that what kind of a value it is. So we'll specify that it's going to be budget. And all of these things can throw an exception. So we can go ahead and wrap this. Oops, probably over here. There we go. And we can simply print it out. Let me check one thing. I think I messed up something over here. No, that's okay. Okay, so this is the code that we had to type, all right, to save a budget. Now, once the budget is actually saved, what we can also do is we can call dismiss so that we can dismiss this modal. Let's go ahead and see that if this works or not. All right. I'm going to go back to my budget list screen. I'm going to say add new. Okay, here we go. We can add some sort of a name for the budget. I have a San Francisco trip coming up, so I'm just going to say San Francisco trip and enter the limit. Let's say I want to spend, let's say $500 a limit. Well, it doesn't really display it over here, but now I'm wondering, did it even saved to the database or not? Let's go ahead and check out our database. Probably we have to refresh this. Actually, it comes up right there, San Francisco trip. So it is saved in the database, but for some reason our view is not updating. So what exactly is going on and how we can solve this problem? Let's go ahead in the next lecture where we can learn that how we can solve this problem in different ways.